At exactly 8:14 in the morning, I picked up my phone and sent a very simple text message to my wife. I wrote, "Have a great day. Love you." It was just a small, sweet way to let her know she was on my mind as we both started our busy mornings. But for the next 15 hours, my phone stayed completely silent. She did not answer me at all. Finally, at 11 o'clock at night, the front door opened and she walked into the house. She looked right at me with a little smirk on her face and said 7 words that broke my heart into pieces. "My name is Daniel, and I am 40 years old. My job is to help people learn how to take care of their money. I like to think of myself as a very patient and loyal person. To me, the most important part of strong marriage is being able to have honest talks with one another. My wife's name is Rachel, and she is 38. She is a very smart woman, but lately, it felt like she was drifting away from me. My best friend is a man named Mark, who is 41. He is a very honest person, and he is the one who helped me see what was really going on. Rachel was the person I love more than anyone else in this whole world. If you had told me a year ago that my wife would ever do something to hurt me, I would have laughed. Back then, Rachel was not just my wife. She was my very best friend. We used to sit together for hours and share all our big dreams. But lately, things began to change in a way that made me feel sad. She started staying at her office very late every single night. Eating dinner together became something that hardly ever happened anymore. All the fun plans we used to make for the weekends just seemed to disappear. Every time we tried to have a talk, it ended with her just staring down at her phone screen. Whenever I would ask her if everything was truly okay, she would just give me a quick smile and say, "Daniel, you are worrying way too much." I really tried my best to believe her. On that specific Tuesday morning, I gave her a kiss goodbye like I always do. At 8:14 a.m., I sent my usual sweet message. "Have a great day. Love you." There was no reply. Around lunchtime, I decided to text her again. I asked, "Is everything okay?" Still, there was no answer. By 5 o'clock in the evening, I was starting to get really worried. I tried calling her, but it went straight to her voicemail. I called again a little while later, but still, I heard nothing back. My mind started to race with scary thoughts. I wondered if she had been in a bad accident. I wondered if her phone battery had died. I even called a lady she works with. That lady told me that Rachel had actually left the office at 4 o'clock. If she left then, where could she be? By 8 p.m., I was pacing back and forth across the living room floor. The dinner I had made was sitting on the table, getting cold. Every single car that drove past our house made me run to the window to look out. By 10:30, my fear started to turn into a heavy feeling of doubt. Finally, at 11:02 p.m., I heard the sound of car headlights in the driveway. Rachel walked through the door, acting like it was just a normal night. She looked at the cold dinner on the table and asked, "Oh, did you wait for me?" I told her that I had been calling her and texting her all day long. She just shrugged her shoulders and said her phone had been on silent. I showed her all the messages I had sent. She looked me right in the eyes, smirked, and said, "You know, you worry way too much." Something inside of me just broke right then. It was not because she was home late. It was because she acted like my caring about her was the real problem. I asked her where she had been. "Out," she replied. I asked, "Out where?" She said, "With friends." She rolled her eyes at me and asked if she needed to ask for permission just to have a life of her own. I told her that all I wanted was for us to be honest with each other. She just sighed and said that this was the exact reason why she did not answer her phone. That sentence hurt me more than anything else. The very next morning, I could not stop thinking about what had happened. A group of caring experts once said that truly listening to each other is the biggest key to a happy life. Later that afternoon, my friend Mark took me out to grab some lunch. He asked me a very important question. He said, "Daniel, if the situation were reversed, what would Rachel expect from you?" I knew the answer right away. She would definitely expect me to answer my phone if she called. Mark just nodded his head. He didn't have to say anything else. That evening, Rachel found me sitting alone at the kitchen table. I told her that we really needed to talk. She sighed and asked if we were still talking about what happened yesterday. I told her that we were actually talking about how she had stopped caring about how her choices made me feel. I explained that I was not angry because she was late. I was just scared because I thought something bad had happened to her. I told her how much it hurt when she mocked me for caring about her safety. When I said that, all the confidence left her face. She looked down at the floor and whispered that she was sorry. She told me she was just with some friends from her work and did not realize how worried I would be. I told her that I believed her, but I also said that ignoring the person who is waiting for you at home is not how a marriage is supposed to work. Over the next few months, we worked very hard to fix the trust that we had lost. We decided to set some very simple rules for ourselves. If our plans changed, we would always tell each other. If one of us was feeling worried, the other person would promise not to ignore those feelings. We learned that marriage is not about knowing every single move the other person makes. It is about making sure that the person who loves you never has to feel like they have been forgotten. Looking back now, people often ask me what part of that night hurt the most. It was not the silent phone or the late hour. It was the moment I realized that the woman I promised to love forever had started treating my love like a boring chore instead of a beautiful gift. A relationship does not always fall apart because of one big mistake. Sometimes it starts with just one ignored message and one person who stops caring that someone else is waiting for them. Small acts of kindness are the things that keep a heart safe and keep love alive. When we stop listening to one another, we stop being a team. It is so very important to remember that our partners are our very best friends. They are the ones who stand by us when life gets really hard. In this story, Daniel felt all alone even though he was married. That is a very sad way to feel. We should always try our best to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. If we stop to think about how they feel, we will naturally be more kind. Kindness is like a seed that grows into a happy life.